Good day and welcome to your favorite sport program on TV, 360 Sport. As usual, today will be an interesting moment as we focus on a particular sport that have been in existence for a very long time in the country. And in recent time, the sport have been growing in bounds, especially the fact that it was one of the most talked about sport at the just concluded National Sport Festival in Abeokuta. Also, on the lighter mood, it was the only sport that was in a particular venue. You know, in Abeokuta, we had in the venue about 3 or 4 sports, but the shooting sport was the only sport at the June 12 Cultural Center in Kuto, where we had about more than 10 states, I tell you, participating in that tournament. And talking to me on my guest today is the president of Nigerian Shooting Sport Federation. That's talking about Navy Navy Captain, sorry, who is going to be the one to talk to us today. It's good to have you on the show.
Come on.
Yes, we are in Abeokuta at the shooting event as the president of shooting sports. Can you give us an overview of what went on in Abeokuta, especially at the shooting sports, where you oversee that particular event? How exciting and the high point of that event?
Yeah, thank you. The shooting sports feature 25 events, which were keenly contested for by 12 states. We had the most exciting time as the venue was dedicated specially to us, and because of that, we had opportunity of running the full timing for each of the various events. This enabled us um, to exactly compete as it would have been internationally. We were able to deploy our electronic scoring target systems, which gave us the best scenario as it is internationally.
So, in the level of state participation in shooting at the Gateway Games, how satisfied are you with the sport? Many states that participated. Should there be more states that should have participated at the shooting event, or it's a gradual increment to show that a lot of states are now involved into shooting sports?
As you will know, shooting sports came in as a last sport for the competition. Because of that, it affected a couple of states that intended to participate. We had about 6 other states that came in late, that they were not earlier on registered because of the various challenges due to our venue. So in all, we had 18 states that were actually present, but only 12 were registered. So I know definitely in the next National Sports Century at Enugu, we have started engaging the states, and I believe that the facility will provide enough for us to be able to attract other states that have seen the available medals in shooting as an opportunity for them to improve their performance. I believe that it will be better than Pavel.
Okay, definitely. And what are the things you wish was done by the MOC, the main organizing committee, and the sport commission for a more befitting venue? The cultural center in Kuto seems like a very good venue from an outside point of view. It was set and the seating arrangement was all good. But what you as a president, what do you think wish there shall be more improvement in the venue?
Okay, I will say that let me not put it on anybody's table as a blame. It's not a blame game. It's a sports development issue. The venue, I will wish it to be more permanent shooting. The hall is appropriate for the events. However, because it's temporary in nature, the benefits of having done the sports in Ogun State will not be achieved, because the major problem, the major issue of moving sports around is to ensure development of the sport in the various states that are hosted. The unfortunate event that we had to host it at the cultural center means that the hall is not developed for the training of the local athletes or the grassroots athletes, which is the major fundamental we require for sports development. So that is my only challenge, having hosted it at the cultural center. In future, I hope it will be different, and we look forward to Enugu State being better than we are at Abeokuta.
Let me also add to this. I know I wrote an article some times ago, and I said shooting sport is one of the most expensive sports in the country. I actually thought it was archery, but I realized that shooting, with what I saw at the stakeholders, what are they doing to ensure that the equipment, which I think I have to really give an applause, that the equipment used at the sport festival is owned by the Nigerian Shooting Federation. I'm sure that runs into hundreds of millions. But what is the federation doing or stakeholders doing to ensure that this sport can, the equipment can be at least as accessible as possible?
Well, to a large extent, the equipment are accessible. It just has a procedure for acquiring it. For instance, the air guns can be purchased with an end user certificate by the Office of the National Security Advisor, and the pellets are available. So I believe the equipment are available. The price is the issue. The readily available weapons for shooting for rifles about 2,000, 3,000 euro. The pistol is about 2,500 also to 3,000 euro. Then, of course, for rifle, you also need your shooting jackets and trousers and shoes, gloves. They also cost about 3,000 euros per person. So it really is expensive. And of course, the pellets are not reusable. So once you fire it, that's the end. That makes shooting actually one of the most expensive sports. And I think that's one of the factors mitigating against the development of sports in Nigeria. What the federation is doing is to encourage people who are interested to put in their best, and we try to augment with the availability of pellets.
Interesting. And also, we know that the elections are coming soon, but I want you to tell us a bit about in the period that you are the president, what are the landmark and or achievements that has been brought into the sport? I would know that if from my own perspective, we have me coming across the sport during your period of time is something that I think is an achievement, because you know the sport for a very long time have been below what's expected. But you know, in recent time, we've been seeing shooting events in Lagos, Abeokuta, and other states. But you tell us, as the president, what are these milestone achievements, or what are these improvements that has been done to the federation as a president?
Thank you very much. First of all, when I resumed as president, my number one objective was to qualify Nigeria for the Paris 2024 Olympics. Regrettably, that was not achieved. However, we were able to make very giant strides towards achieving that. On resumption, our athletes' best scores were about 550. Today, we have athletes that are firing over 600, and those in the neighborhood of 600. This has shown that we have grown by more than 15-20% in the quality of our athletes. This was achieved by camping and the introduction of some foreign coaches that helped to train them. Also, the enlightenment that they got during our campaigns in Azerbaijan and Egypt, has further opened their horizon to see various technicalities required for shooting sports. In addition, we have been able to get new equipment that is going to actually impact on their performance. We are expecting the latest rifles and pistols to be added to our Mori. This will certainly improve the quality of our men and their performances towards the next Olympics. We're already working to ensure that we have tailored out training plans that is going to actually show what they have achieved in the last 4 years. I assure you that if the current strides that we are taking are maintained, we are sure to have somebody in the next Olympics.
Okay, well said. What are other things I'm sure we should be looking forward to, because I know the federation's elections are around the corner, but what are other things we should be looking forward to after this milestone achievement you've just listed for us?
A very important thing is the new structure available at the National Sports Commission, which enables us to start preparing for the Olympics before the Olympic year. The budgeting system has been further improved, and because of that, we already are making efforts to prepare our athletes to go for a competition in November this year. If we're able to get funding for that, it's going to go a long way in ensuring that our athletes start getting the requisite international exposure required for Olympic qualification. With this, I believe that Nigeria is definitely set to be at the Olympics for shooting in Los Angeles.
Yeah, for the records of those asking, have there been any Nigerian that has represented us at the Olympics for shooting, or was the highest competition that shooting as a Nigerian has represented the country in shooting, so that for the purpose of records, whether there's any Nigerian that has gone higher or represented us in international tournaments like the Commonwealth Games and the Olympics?
The best we have had is the Commonwealth Games, and that is why the Olympics is our next target. We will be, hopefully by the grace of God, at the next Olympics in Los Angeles. It's a major issue that we must address, and progressively we have climbed to a point where it is certain that we will get the next Olympic qualifiers.
Okay. We'll go on a quick break, sir, and when we come back, there are just one or two questions we'll be asking you as we round up to show for today. We've been speaking with the president of Nigerian Shooting Sport Federation, who has done so well for Navy Captain Ayoade, who has done so well for the development of shooting sports in the country. Don't go away right now, because we'll be back to ask one or two questions on the shooting sports in the country.
Yeah, relax. That is my brother, and I want him out of this station now.
We have proceed.
Okay. Can I just see the IPO of this case? IPO, how are you?
You're welcome, sir.
That is my brother, and I want him out of this station now.
Do you know the offense he has committed, sir?
What do you guys want for the weekend? Okay, let me see your DPO.
This way, sir.
Oh, better. You don't know who is here. That boy is my brother, and I want you to assist me to free him.
The man found the gun, confessed to robbery.
Things like this happen. 200,000 naira for you.
Are you bribing me?
500,000 naira.
Robbery suspect?
1 million naira.
That is corruption. Not allowed in this division.
1 million.
Remember, police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
Corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Yes, we still have Navy Captain Olatunji Ayoade still with us in the studio as we talk about the challenges shooting sports is facing in the country. It's good to still have you in the show, sir.
But
A lot of people want to also know, ask about the technicality of the sport. That for those that want to train the trainer programs, which I think training officials and technical persons about this sport can spread the sports into the grassroots level. Tell us a bit the difference between the pistol and the rifle as regards to the technicality of the sport.
okay, the difference between the pistol and the rifle is the length of the equipment used. The pistol is a shorter weapon, whilst the rifle is a longer weapon. Technicalities, they all have the same trigger, they all have the same foresight backside, and generally for a shooter, the parts are similar, only in the length that they have a little difference. Now, in training people to use it, the positions of holding them are different, and as such, people learn to shoot the two types of weapon different, a little specialized.
Okay. And I'm sure those are they real weapons? People want to ask: Are they real weapons that should not be walked about in public, and or they are just weapons for sport? Someone should have been licensed, even as a shooter, to hold those equipment, or they don't need to be licensed to hold it, even as an athlete.
A little complication about that because of the peculiar situation in our country. The Firearms Act specifically states that a weapon more than 9 inches barrel smooth bore is not envisaged for arms restriction, so it's not envisaged in the Firearms Act. However, there are amendments, there are enactments because of the peculiar situation in our country that says anything that looks like a firearm is actually to be controlled. Based on that, there is some restrictions on the ability to move around or acquire it. That is why I mentioned earlier that you will need an end user certificate from the Office of the National Security Advisor. So it's, yes, it's not enshrined in the Firearms Act. However, there are other legislations that prohibit or that requires licensing of the air guns as they are.
Okay, well said. Now let's not look at those states that participated at the shooting event. I think most states like Delta State have been dominant for a very long time, and we also have Ogun State. What other states have shown improvement in the participation and in the sport? And more so, because I also cover archery. I see more of forces, the police, the naval, and the army, and the navy, much involved in archery. I think if I want to equate that, I think from what I saw, perhaps if the national sport officer should not be the yardstick, but what I saw from the national sport officer, I think there are lesser military personnel less involved in shooting than archery. I just want you to clarify that for us.
Well, I think on both it's balanced, because in the shooting event we had a lot of service personnel, but because everybody comes in as an individual, not as a member of the service, so you may actually not know that the person is actually from this service. But during the last competition, we had people from the Navy, Air Force, and the Nigerian Army. The three services were adequately represented. The Department of State Service was adequately represented. The Correctional Service, Customs, Immigration, Police, everybody was actually there. They participated for their state. So I wouldn't be able to say that you have more service personnel in archery than in shooting. They actually are. I think it's equal.
Yeah, I think you said, I have to acknowledge that fact you said, because they weren't coming as representing the forces. They were coming representing our state. So it's going to be very, very difficult for my own research and report to actually say whether they are not or not. And to be honest with you, the comparison I was actually doing was based on another tournament where you can come as a first man. The archery tournament I had in mind comparing, you can come as a first man, you see them wearing their clothes. But as a national sport festival, they come as a state, representing a state. So if I don't come close to them, I will probably not know they are. But there's so obvious about a lady who was a DSS. So let's before I round up the show, which states have been improving recently? We saw Ogun State breaking a record. I think an archery, a shooting record at the sport festival done by Ogun State. We know that Delta State have been dominating shooting sport for a very long time. But I'd want to tell you other states that are also been improving in recent time as showcased at the National Sport Festival.
At the last national sports fair, we had Gombe State winning medals. We had Borno State winning medals. So these were states that either had not done very well, but in recent times they have actually improved. The zonal rep from the Northeast has pushed a lot of activities in the zone, and this has actually impacted on their performance. Delta State is like the home base of shooting, so we expect them to continue to grow from where they are. Ogun State, of course, has been in the forefront, and they have not fallen behind. They performed very well at the last National Sports Festival.
Yes.
River State did well as well, so I believe that a lot of states have upped their game in shooting, and if the tempo is maintained, I'm sure that we will see other states that will equally do very well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Navy Captain Olatunji Ayoade, the president of the Nigerian Shooting Sport Federation. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, as speaking with the man that has been in the Emzor affair for shooting for a very long time, 4 years, and is trying to ensure that his legacy and his landmark milestones also that he has done should continue. So that's all about shooting sport today, and that's how we're drawing the curtain of today's program. I want to say a big thank you to all our listeners. Don't forget, the conversation never ends, as you can check us on all our social media platforms, TV360 Nigeria, hashtag 360 Sports, where you can get all the latest sports in the world. I'm Mudashiru Shitu. Thanks for being with me.